Good morning everyone, this is Priyanshu Kaushik and you're listening to Noobs Law School. In this video, I am going to talk about World Economic Outlook report which has been released by IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. Before starting the video, I would like to introduce you to the LawSet Adda, which is a one-stop solution for Telangana and Andhra Pradesh LawSet preparation. So if you are interested in preparing for any of these exams, then you should definitely refer to LawSet Adda. The link of this channel is also provided inside the description box of this video. Now let's move on to the video. The focus of this video. At first I'm going to talk about the news, the report itself. Then I'm going to talk about the global trends which has been recommended by this report. Then I'm also going to talk about the recommendations from this report. Then in brief, we are going to talk about the IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, as part of your static GK syllabus. Then also we are going to talk about Bretton Woods Conference, again as part of your static GK conversation. Then I have prepared a conclusion and I have prepared certain questions in which I would like to ask you some questions which are basically going to test your current affair preparation relating to this topic only. Now let me get this video started. The news. The latest edition of International Monetary Fund's, that is IMF's, World Economic Outlook cut its forecast for India's gross domestic product. Gross domestic product, basically the abbreviated form of gross domestic product is GDP. Yes, GDP is gross domestic product. So GDP growth in financial year 2022 and 2023 to 8.2%. Projection, the original projection for India's gross domestic product was held at 9%. You can see in the next line, the original growth rate has been slashed from earlier projection of 9% to 8.2%. So earlier the World Economic Outlook report basically stated that India might grow at a rate of 9%, but now it has slashed the report by 0.8% and has stated that Indian GDP will grow at a rate of 8.2% only. India has become the fastest growing major economy in the whole world, and its growth rate is almost twice faster than that of China, which is China is growing at the rate of 4.4% only. The IMF's projection of India's retail inflation is now at 6.1%. If you have watched my previous video regarding the RBI monetary policy, then you might remember that 6.1% retail inflation rate is very much dangerous for a country, and maximum effort should be done by a country to minimize it within the limits of the number called 6. So this can be a very serious threat to the Indian economy. Before moving forward, I would like to introduce you to Unacademy Gold. Basically, Unacademy is offering 20% off on all of its subscriptions, and this offer, which was only valid till 28th of April, it has been extended to and this offer has been extended till 30th April. So what are you waiting for? The only thing you have to do is to use my code, that is THRINATS, Trinath10, and when you use my code, you will get a 20% hooping discount upon any of your purchases. So do not forget to use my code Trinath10 in order to get a perfect discount. Now let me talk about the learning festival, which again is being offered by Unacademy. Basically, you only have to pay 299 rupees. Yes, only 299 rupees, and you will get a plus subscription for 45 days. At the rate of only 299 rupees, I would like to repeat, you will get a plus subscription for 45 days, and in this plus subscription you can basically get coaching relating to IIT JEE and NEET UG and any class which range from 8th to 12th. So what are you waiting for? This offer is also valid only up till 30th. I would like to again remind you that you need to use my code, that is Trinath10, in order to unlock these things and get a discount and get a perfect discount for your purchase. Now let me talk about global trends. The IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, has projected global growth at the rate of 3.6%. Yes, 3.6% for the year of 2022 and 2023. So basically it has reduced the global growth forecast by 0.8% and 0.2% for both the years of 2022 and 2023 respectively. Deceleration. What is a deceleration? Basically there are two things: acceleration and deceleration. So when you go forward in the direction with a speed, you are accelerating your speed. When you're going downwards, when your speed is getting in minus, then you are decelerating. So a deceleration in global growth dampens India's growth prospects, especially because it would lead to lower demand for Indian exports. Basically the idea is that there is going to be a global deceleration in the growth, and because of that reason the growth of Indian prospects, the growth of Indian GDP is also going to, get a setback. And because the main reason being that the demand for Indian exports will also decrease because of this deceleration. The downgrade largely reflects the war's direct impact on Russia, Ukraine, and the global spillovers caused by this war. The recent lockdowns in key manufacturing and trading hubs such as Shenzhen and Shanghai, that is in both cities are in China, due to the resurgence of COVID-19 cases. Yes, you are already aware about the fact that COVID-19 is again coming, and it is again resurfacing in many cities, also in India, again in Delhi and some other cities. So the resurgence of COVID cases would likely compound the supply disruptions elsewhere in the region and beyond, that is the whole world. So now let's move on to the recommendations of the IMF. So the very first recommendation IMF has went on to recommend is the recommendation regarding the monetary tightening by central banks to keep inflationary expectations in check amid global supply disruptions caused by the war in Ukraine. The IMF warned that the war would severely set back the global recovery. So basically, after the COVID-19 lockdown, the whole period of lockdowns, again the recovery of the world, the economy of the world had started to recover from this global setback of COVID-19. But now, because of this war, it is being expected by IMF that this war will slow down the growth, and it will of course stoke the inflation. The another recommendation which IMF has proposed is monitoring of rising prices. Monetary authorities should carefully monitor the pass-through of rising global prices to domestic inflation expectations to calibrate their responses. So it is basically demanding calibration of the responses by the monetary authorities. Another recommendation by IMF is the targeted income support to households. So IMF report has backed targeted income support by governments to alleviate stress on household budget in countries facing large price increases basically. Now let's talk about the history of IMF itself. The IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, was set up along with the World Bank. World Bank is headquartered in Washington DC after the Second World War II. After the Second World War, to assist in the reconstruction of war-ravaged countries. War-ravaged countries were majorly the Western countries, of course, only. The IMF is also headquartered in Washington DC. The present managing director of International Monetary Fund is Kristalina Georgieva. The deputy managing director of this IMF is Geeta Gopinath, who of course is an Indian of American origin. The two organizations, which are these two organizations? The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF. So these two organizations agreed to be set up at a conference in Bretton Woods in the US. So Bretton Woods is a place in the country named USA. Hence they are known as Bretton Woods twins. Now they were created in 1945. Yes, in 1945. The IMF is governed by and accountable to 189 countries that make up its near global membership. So IMF is a very big organization and it has almost a near global membership. India became part of IMF on 27th December 1945. Yes, you need to remember this, date. India became a member of IMF on 27th December in 1945. Now let's talk in very brief about the Bretton Woods Conference. It was formerly known as the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. The main objective was to regulate the international monetary and financial order after the conclusion of World War II. International Monetary Fund and World Bank are its, basic results. Now let's talk about the conclusion. Indian GDP is growing at a good pace, that is 8.2%, which is a very good thing, or which is a very good concept. Retail inflation rate, which should be within the limits of 6%, which should be within the limits of 2 to 6%, has been expected to increase up to 6.1%, which is a very very big red alert, and the government should be very much careful about this part. Though India's GDP is growing at a 2x speed, that is 2 times speed than that of China, but China's GDP is at least 3 times that of India, and its smaller growth at its smaller pace at growth, it's still going to be larger than that of ours. So basically, China is like a giant elephant, and whereas India is like a small ant maybe. So even if the ant is walking at more speed, it does not matter because the elephant is bigger in size and it can always move. Even if it is moving at a slower speed, it will always be ahead of the ant. But if Indian leaders take things seriously, they can always empower the ant and make it transform into something which is more powerful than an elephant. So the government need to be more serious, as the future might again shrunk in darkness of lockdowns due to the resurfacing of corona. So corona of course has become a new menace to the society, and it can cause lots of issues if it again resurfaces. So this can also be a very big problem for us. Now let's talk about the questions for your GK current affair preparation. You are supposed to give answers inside the comment box of this video. The very first question is, according to Reserve Bank of India, what is the India's retail inflation? So option A 5.7, option B 5.5, option C 6.1, option D 6.5. Next question, on which date India became the member of International Monetary Fund? Option A December 29, 1945, option B December 27, 1945, option C December 24, 1944, option D December 25, 1945. The next question, the next and the last question of this video, how many times International Monetary Fund publishes the World Economic Outlook report? Option A thrice every year, option B once every year, option C twice every year, option D once every month. Thank you for watching this video, and I would like to thank you for subscribing, and do not forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends and relatives who are interested in preparing for any government exams which might help them. Thank you.